Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our discussion. I'm your moderator, Zatin. And in this discussion, we will be talking about parents should never use physical punishment to discipline their children. So before we start, I would first like to introduce you to our guests. First, Puan Suzy, representing Kementerian Pembangunan Wanita, Keluarga dan Masyarakat Malaysia. Madam Anis, as a lawyer from Anis Advocates and Solicitors. Encik Asnawi, he will be representing as a parent, and Sir Afiq, a counselling teacher who came all the way from Sekolah Jalan Yahya Awad. Thank you for taking your time to join this discussion. So, should parents discipline their children with physical punishment? As we all know, over the course of the last 20 years, there has been a shift on a global scale in attitudes towards the practice of physically punishing children. Today, there is extensive research that demonstrates the dangers associated with the use of physical punishment. The convention has been incorporated into legal and policy framework of many nations, and 31 nations have passed legislation that prohibits the use of physical punishment on children. A number of studies shows that the more parents use physical punishment, the more disobedient and aggressive their children will be. So into this discussion, we are going to see what are the parents, the educators, and the social workers' point of view are. So let's get right into the first question. The first question I have is for two of our guests, Encik Asnawi and Sir Afiq. What are your thoughts on this matter?
Hi, my name is Asnawi. As a parent, I think we should still practice disciplining our children the traditional way. I know most of the concern which are associated with the use of physical punishment come from using it excessively. I believe physical punishment sets clear boundaries and motivates children to behave in school. Besides that, physical punishment is a legitimate discipline for certain kids these days, since youngsters are more disrespectful than kids in the 90s. The traditional way will teach them to be responsible for their behavior and self-control. By doing this, your children will learn about consequences and taking responsibility for their own actions. We can see children from America tend to be rude to their parents because most parents in America don't use physical punishment. Children need to understand boundaries, and I think that children need to understand that there should be punishments. This method should only be done at the early age when the kids do not have any self-control or discipline. During this age, the best way to develop their discipline is through physical punishment because kids tend to learn fast. Once they have mature and have self-discipline, only then the parents can use other methods that is not harsh to the children.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. Thanks for moderator. I am Muhammad Afiq Zafan bin Zakaria. Uh, In my opinion, in this issue is educating children to behave well is important during their growing up process. However, many parents rely on physical punishment to achieve this goal. Some parents do not intend to harm their children when using corporal punishment, but they believe this way is effective in disciplining their children. The issue is that corporal punishment is generally more dangerous than helpful and can leave adverse effects. One of these adverse effects from the school's point of view is that it can affect children learning in their school. There are many other appropriate ways of educating children nowadays without the use of force. And don't forget that children learn by watching their parents' behavior. It is important to make sure that parents show good behavior for their children. I strongly disagree with parents using physical punishment to discipline their children.
All right, thank you both, Encik Asnawi and Sir Afiq. Puan Anis, from a lawyer's point of view, we would like to know what are the proper ways for parents to discipline their children or to teach their children, or how should parents manage this situation?
Okay, thank you, moderator, for the question. Okay, first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Anis. I'm from Anis Advocates and Solicitors, which is a lawyer firm. Okay, the question is, what is the proper ways for parents to discipline or to teach their children? Okay, for me, instead of spanking for wrong behavior, parents also can reward them for being a good kid or do good behavior. Okay, for example, parents can use psychological treat, which reward their child by treating delicious food or compliment. If they or do something good, when child do wrong things, from do not yelling or use force, but talk to them gently and advise firmly. From that, child will bear in their mind, if I do something good, if I do something wrong, I will disappoint my family. I might not receive any reward. Besides, there's also an act regarding safety of children in Malaysia. So parents also should aware about that and not using too much force towards child, especially until resulting in serious injury. Okay, based on the act, I would like to share one case as my supporting details, which happened in Setapak in November 2021. Yeah. Okay, there was a father was fined 4,000 ringgit for hitting his daughter with a broom and causing serious injury on the leg. Okay, the accused was charged under Section 31 of the Child Act 2001, which carries a fine not exceeding 50,000 ringgit or a jail term up to 20 years or both. So to parents out there, I would like to advise, it is true, there's an act for our child to sue us or parents out there when it comes to serious injury, or they feel like it is unfair for them to get violence from their parents. Parents out there also have to bear in their mind not using too much force to their child or to their kids in educating them.
All right, thank you for the information given, Puan Anis. So, Encik Asmawi, as you mentioned previously, you are in favor of physical punishment for disciplining children. Can you tell us why?
If you look at current generation, more kids tend to be stubborn and rude to their parents. This is because the parents take the easy route of not disciplining their child properly. The kids do not have any physical consequences if they were to do any wrongdoings. As a result, they are not afraid to do anything they want. I know that there are negative and positive outcomes of physical punishment, but I prefer to view this method in a positive way. This is because I believe physical punishment is an effective way to teach children. It is meant to correct bad behavior in children that parents don't want. I grew up in an environment where it is better to not make mistakes because there are consequences that come from it. I have become a more responsible person as a result of receiving this form of punishment. Therefore, I believe that this method should be continued, and I want my children grow up the same way I did.
All right, thank you for your explanation. So what I can interpret from what Encik Asnawi has said is that he actually views this discipline method in a positive way. And I think that it is partly true that in this way, children will have to think about the consequences before doing anything questionable. But my question is, will they actually know the real reason why they can't do those things? Or are they just scared or too traumatized to get beaten up by their parents? So personally, even though I can relate to what Encik Asnawi has just said, I still think that there are better ways to discipline children without laying hands on them. Um, so let's hear it from Puan Suzy. What do you think? Are there any suggestions that you would like to share for the parents who are still practicing the traditional way of disciplining their children?
Thank you, Ms. Zatin. Assalamualaikum, everyone. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Suzy Harlina binti Tahir. I'm the unit leader from Unit Penasihat Undang-Undang Kementerian Pembangunan Wanita, Keluarga dan Masyarakat Malaysia. I'm not agree with Encik Asnawi. It's undeniable that some parents in the past were quite strict and practiced violence, but nowadays it's not suitable to use the same method with Gen Y culture. It's totally different, and we need parenthood knowledge more to manage them. From our ministry has established the National Council for Children as stipulated in the Children Amendment Act 2016, Act 1511 under Section 3. Among its important roles are to develop programs and strategies aimed at educating the community and to raise awareness in society, including at the family level about the right and dignity of a child, and to develop programs aimed at educating the community in order to prevent child abuse and neglect children, as well as preventing the involvement of children in immoral or criminal acts. We need to discipline them, and the key for effective discipline is to understand who your child is. Explain to them the do's and don'ts, and the most important is how we as parents act will reflect them.
All right. Are there any ways that schools could help? Perhaps spreading the correct information on how parents should discipline their children, or awareness of a child's mental health, or any on that matter. What do you think, Puan Suzy?
Yeah, that is correct. School also playing the important role in helping parents to understand how to manage their children. Perhaps by informing them the student development or any changes on their behaviors. Children who are mentally or physically abused were reflected through their action or words. You might need extra support from the school administration members like principals, counseling teacher, or students affairs teachers, but most of the cases this grooming child more willing to share feeling with other than the family. School can form school peer mentor which can help mobilize guidance and counseling services in schools as one of the friend resources for help.
There are several programs provided by the school to parents to avoid cases like this. The first is concrete support. The school provided a platform for parents to gain insight into their children's education. Therefore, they can communicate with the administrator on how to get new ideas for the programs individual children's or families. This is because parents also have stress outside of work, may experience any stress at home. Next, the second is strengthen parenting. Every parent sometimes need tips. The schools offer a family learning experience program right when they really need it. For example, a family program for school-age children's workshop on homework, preteen dating or friendship, puberty, and others. The next is responding to family crisis. When the crisis occur, families need to know there is a place they can go for support. The school may not have all the answer, but it should be a place where families can connect with resources. This could be food, housing, employment, or medical service. The last is facilitate children's social and emotional development. This is the foundation of everything we do in the school age program. Parents can learn more about how they can help children grow in this course and in the social and emotional development course.
All right. All right, those are some very good suggestions that you guys have. So thank you, Puan Suzy and Encik Afiq. I really hope that schools actually take actions on ideas that were suggested. All right. So as some of us know, there are some cases that has been on the news about some parents who took physical punishment too far, as this will actually lead to or count as child abuse. As an example, I have read about a case um, in Georgetown about these two children who were found eating at food court, and these two children has gained the public attention because of the bruises that they have on their face. Eventually, a stranger has allegedly filed a report asking for the police to look into it deeper, and it was found out later that their own mother did this to them, and she has been arrested for this. Looking at the cases which are similar to this, and since we do have knowledge concerning the attitudes of these various populations towards child maltreatment, let's all hear from Che Anis. Che Anis, are there any ways that a child could do to help themselves go through such harassments, even from their own parents?
Okay. What is the way through law for a child can do to help themselves go through such harassment from their own parents? Okay, first of all, like I said before this, there's an Act of Children 2001. Any person who has in his or her care a child that is being neglected, abandoned, or exposed the child in a manner likely to cause him or her physical or emotional injury can be fined not exceeding 20,000 ringgit or imprisonment for a term not exceeding 10 years or both. Which means any parents who do violence for or force towards their child until serious injury can be sued or fined 20,000 ringgit or imprisoned for 10 years or both. Okay, if any child out there happen to go through something like this, first step is child make a police report, also with medical report from hospital, which show that them getting serious injury. Then they may open case using Child Act 2001. Okay, I advise children out there, if involved in a situation like this, do not be afraid. Okay, and do not worry, because there are law that will uphold the truth for them.
All right, for the last questions that I have for today, I would like to ask for all of your opinions on what are the long-term effects or impact to the children who get physically punishment from their parents. Let's start with Encik Asnawi.
So the impact of physical punishments is the child will learn to manage both their feeling and behavior. Besides that, the children are able to make decisions about their behavior, exercise self-control, and be accountable for their actions when they understand the penalty they face for misbehaving. Children who are exposed to physical punishment will be deterred from engaging in certain behaviors and activities. However, it is important for physical punishment to be in moderation. Too much physical punishment can cause a lot of harm to the kids mentally and physically. Thank you.
The effect of child abuse on academics is to have a hard influence on their academic performance and discipline in schools. Although physical punishment does not cause serious physical injury, children may experience fear and distress, and distress has a negative impact on brain structure, development, and overall well-being. This can lead to emotional and behavioral problems that can result in impaired efficiency performance. In turn, emotional and behavioral problems can also result in difficulty concentrating in learning, low self-motivation, impaired short-term memory, and result in a reduced ability to perform school assignments and tests well. Finally, the child in turn, is more likely to behave badly and have critical disciplinary problems. This puts them at risk for school suspension or learning disruption to other students in the classroom.
What is the long-term effect for child after getting violence treatment from their parents? Okay, first of all, I agree with Mr. Asnawi. From the point that it will affect the child behavior. Okay, this may resulting in their social life. Their kids may be extreme towards other people also. It is because they receive violent treatment, they may want to treat others also in violence. Okay, because their attitude might become worse due to the trauma that they are getting violence from their parents or they're being hit by their parents. Okay, their attitude might become worse and worse from day to day. Okay, parents out there should aware of this and think of their child future.
Unfortunately, we're afraid that it will impact them all along until they become a parent in future. This is that we need to avoid. We don't want it to happen again for the future generation. We don't want our child to grow up as a fierce, living in a fear and lost self-confidence. We need to protect our future leader. Physical punishment is associated with increased child aggression, antisocial behavior, lower intellectual achievement, poor quality of parent-child relationship, mental health problems such as depression, and diminished moral internalization.
Okay, thank you everyone for your explanations and opinions. We are already at the end of our discussion. I hope that our forum has given some tips for some parents who are struggling to find ways to discipline their children the correct way. And I also hope that we could be more aware of a child's mental health. Again, I would like to thank everyone for your time. I hope you guys have a good day. Thank you.